Hello, travelers. I'm doing a post. Um, this post is about good and evil, right and wrong, and what we deal with every day, choices we have to make. And what prompted this is just looking at everything, trying to set up dialogue, and we need a place to begin. We need a place to where we can all, where everybody can relate, you know. And I think knowing what's right, you know, is a good place to start. This is a new website. This is a new venue for me to try to get this message out. And I'm trying to find a way to knit our society back together, or try to at least repair some of the tears that were torn into fabric of it recently. And a lot of it is just, you know while I was still on Facebook, somebody replied to one of my videos and was saying that I should be more informative. Well, not for nothing. Everything that I'm talking about is basically common knowledge. This is all stuff that we know, and that's what makes it so uh, hard for me to deal with, because uh, people know these things. People, uh, you live this stuff, and you watch other people go through what they go through. That's, I think, why there's a lot of these mall shootings and shopping, supermarket shootings, and um, you know where people just unload, and that's what they're doing. It's stress. It's struggle. Uh, seeing no end to it on a daily basis, and it's wrong. It's not a necessity that people struggle. Work is one thing, but struggle is something else. Uh, like when I'm saying, you know, God said that the land would provide for the needs of the people. That tells me that there is enough. God said that the land would provide. That means there's enough. That means there's enough. But there's still this struggle. There's this struggle for those things that we need. And it's not right. the reasons for the struggle are not right. Okay, if we have bad seasons with harvests, we have bad harvests and stuff like that, or the inclement weather, the weather uh, 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 as it's getting worse. But I'm just saying, as the weather contributes to the uh, loss of time and uh, all the issues that we're going through that cause a negative effect on society. If they were natural, that's what I was trying to get at. That weather and having a bad crop, just having bad crops and stuff like that. That's reason for struggle. But when governments set up laws and policies that cause struggle, that deny us the things we need, and prime example is what we are fighting about today. What's the talking points that are going on right now? You know, healthcare, education, infrastructure. Build back better. There's a plan in effect to try and do something for. I mean, that's been attempted or whatever every voting cycle for decades. This is going back decades that we've been, or government, or part of government has been trying to address the infrastructure. They've been trying to address education. They've been trying to address healthcare. And the other side of the government is preventing, or has been preventing, those advances that are necessary in uh, uh, infrastructure, education, as far as education itself and the structures that our children go to be educated. In every zip code, there needs to be buildings, structures conducive to learning. Kids shouldn't be ducking from plaster falling, or learning from antiquated books. Being taught. And our teachers shouldn't have to come out of their pockets to supply learning supplies, or just supplies pencils and. Come on, man. This is too late in time. 2021, and we're still arguing the same issues. Nothing has been done. And now that this president is trying to get stuff done, there's all kinds of. I mean, why not get this stuff done? I wonder if this was about giving the rich a tax break, what would it be like? You know, that's, I think, more of what's going on here is that, uh, 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 you know, you try to look at that the well, I'll just say Republican side more attached to special interests and stuff like that, but special interests are attached in the Democratic side too, as it's obvious that you got a couple of senators that are stonewalling like they're Republicans. You would think they were Republicans. I think they are. I think they are. They wow. How can you deny this democracy? You know, like I'm saying that all these decades are money, our tax money and resources were misappropriated, or you know, or we wouldn't be still talking about infrastructure. We wouldn't still be talking about education on the levels we are. We wouldn't be talking about healthcare. Healthcare wouldn't be the mess that it is. People, common sense is becoming a superpower. It is, because there's such a lack of it, and when people do say something that just makes sense, people look at it as like this profound statement. Well, no, all it was it makes sense. It's simple, but that's the thing. We've been uh, 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 denied education. You know, news media. Okay, whoever owns that uh, news company, NBC, CBS, Fox, whatever, whoever, you know, whoever owns it, basically there's an agenda. That ownership has an agenda. You know, there's this, heavy Democratic slant or this heavy Republican slant, and nothing in the middle, or what is in the middle is what they call it fringe and stuff like that. There's fringes on both sides, and so I mean, is the thing is it's just right and wrong. What's right and what's wrong, and we know this stuff. Kids know before they can talk. They know right and wrong. Watch them. Watch your children when they're sneaking, doing something, looking right in your face, looking right while they're watch what their hands are doing while they're looking in your face. They know they're doing something wrong. They know that or trying to test those boundaries. To find out what's right and wrong. Can I do this? We're adults. Well, I'm saying even the young adults. You know what's right and wrong. And we too often choose what's wrong. We make society what it is because we allow government to uh, enact these unjust laws and policies for whatever reasons that we do these things. in whatever area we are in the country and all this here stuff. And, we still fighting the Civil War, you know. Oh man, come on. That was and still is, because it's apparently not over. Uh, they're still storming the Capitol and all kinds of shit. Excuse my language. Sorry. That's why I made this not for kids, because I can slip. Oh boy. Sometimes I ain't slipping. That's how it is, man. A lot of this stuff is just that insane that uh in this day and age people are still trying to call themselves superior to other people, or are arrogant enough to feel like they have uh, or are entitled to some kind of privilege. Just the word privilege, you know, you being privileged means somebody's not. Just to say it, privilege, privileged, having privilege, which means more over somebody else. Uh, it wasn't made that way, it wasn't created that way, and it shouldn't be that way. Never. It should have never been that way. You know, we're all one people. That's the whole thing. That's the big cover up. I think, the big lie is that we're different. That somebody's better than somebody. That this you know this these. That's what I'm saying. None of this what's going on in this government. What happened the last uh, 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 with the last president? That's not new. That wasn't none of this new. From the beginning of governments, when governments first came into being, they were based in uh, uh, robbery of the people. People didn't need governments. People were uh, uh, that community, that town those people worked together to it started out hunter gathering, and then they got smart and started cultivating and raising, animal husbandry or whatever you want to call it. They're raising animals, for food and stuff and like that. But with that, when they started cultivating and raising their own, what came into be at that point was surplus. Now check this out. That surplus, after everybody, ate, put away for the hard seasons, people learned how to preserve food and stuff like that, put away for, the winter or whatever. And what was left could be traded. It had value, value, right? That's when greed came into being. That's when governments came into being. Somebody took over that town, maybe even from within the town. They didn't want to do the work uh, to sustain themselves and their families or whatever, and decided to uh, 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 juiced the people into believing they needed a leader. And then some just took over the towns. Like you had those that were marauders and that they'd go and take whatever and keep moving. But then somebody decided to say, hey, instead of moving on, they got a nice field, crops and animals and stuff, you know, we give them what they need and we keep the surplus or whatever. However, but that's how greed works, you know. They're just gonna take these people's stuff. So if you have common sense, if you have, you know, just look at that from what it is, right there in the beginning of things, when all this mess that we're in right now started. That started thousands and thousands of years ago, and we've been fighting the tyranny of greed for those, people in general, just been fighting these fights for thousands of years. And it's not necessary because we 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 especially in this government, in this the way this government is supposed to be set up, our taxes pay for the running of government. So we basically pay their salary, right? So we pay them to serve, just like the police are supposed to serve and protect. We pay our government to serve as far as making the needs of the people so. And if it had gone that way for all these decades, all these since the country, we would be living in a much better place. But you have these uh, rich, ultra rich, old money rich, and some new money rich trying to join the club. But these people are uh, there's a game called Monopoly. And that's the game. That's the game. That's the game that we play. We live. Monopoly. And that's where uh, uh, somebody's working to get it all. That's how you win the game, right? Somebody's working to get it all. And that's, if you watch in society, watching this corporation buying this corporation and buying this, these corporations are all, there's they're monopolizing. They want all the money and all the resources. Well, really, the bottom line is it's about the land. They want all the land and all the resources. The thing about that is, whoever owns the land enslaves the people who live and work on it. We're going to get into this. I'm just starting out. I'm trying to teach myself how to present myself and present this information without being offensive or whatever. I try my best not to offend, but the truth is the truth, and that's where I'm coming from. That's what I'm coming with. I'm coming with the truth. I'm not. Uh, I'm apolitical. I don't. Uh, you know, I like I say, I go with right, what's right and wrong. And I don't think people should be deprived of the right to vote. I don't think people should be deprived of equal rights in a society. You know, we all work together, and this society is beautiful. But what we're doing now is working towards some kind of anarchy or monarchy. Excuse me, anarchy, right? Because that's what it'll be before anything else. I think once if we have any kind of skirmish or something like that, that's what it'll be. It'll be anarchy in this country where the country's fighting amongst or against itself. Yeah, that's where it'll end up before any other form of government comes into being. There'll be this, everybody for themselves, which way we're going as it is, because that's what I'm seeing is uh, uh, this group over here, this group over here, this group over here, this group over here, and everybody has their own creed. Everybody, there should be one creed in this country. It should be about America. What it stands for, the righteousness that it stands for. And I just can't see, I can't understand, well, I do understand that people have been deceived for thousands of years. In this country, there's a new deception, though. Something that didn't really exist as it does. It didn't really exist until, this form of racism, this weaponized racism. Uh, and the denial of citizenship, or you know this type of stuff based on race. But these people, it's about gender, it's about a lot of, it don't just get into race. That's why I really don't try to mess with that race thing, because I don't believe it's really all that about race. That's how they set it up to use it. The police shootings of unarmed citizens was sanctioned by the state. It is sanctioned by the state, because these people, if these police officers aren't being charged, or when it's an obvious murder, because that's what it is. I don't see a reason for a gun to be fired at an unarmed person. I don't see a reason to be pointing a gun at an unarmed person. don't you know what I'm saying, with the kind of police training that there should be. I hate to get off on these tangents, but when you run up, this is right and wrong, and when you run up against, I've run up against this in the conversation. I just, and the thing is, an unarmed person is no uh, 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 threat that you don't have other means to gain control of that situation. You don't have to shoot them. You don't have to threaten them with a firearm. That's cowardly, if you ask me. Seriously, that's a coward. Don't you? I know you have hand to hand combat training, and then you have pepper spray. You have a stun gun. You used to use they probably still do have the billy club or whatever kind of like that. But with an unarmed situation, that officer should be jailed, fired, and prosecuted for murder, because that's what it is. Cold-blooded murder. When you shoot somebody that's unarmed, unless that person is in the and I can't even see that, because like I said, you have other means of subduing that person. So I can't see, uh there's no reason for that. And being, I'm a hunter's ed instructor, but I'm not instructing. I haven't for years, but I do understand and remember that one of the first laws of gun safety is never to point a weapon at another person, at a person. Never. Unless, you're law enforcement or you're protecting yourself or something like that. But, and even with law enforcement, there needs to be uh, 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 lines that you can't cross. And to draw your weapon on an unarmed person, once you're okay, there are situations I've seen where police officers walked up to a car and were shot in the face or whatever. So yes, there are precautions that they need to take, you know, in just in doing their job, because they don't know who's in that car or what the intent of the person is in that car. That's something we need to understand too. They have a heck of a job, but at the same time, they apply and go through the training and all that stuff. So they should be able to do that job efficiently and safely and in the service of community. That's what it should be about. You're not supposed to become the criminal that you're supposed to be protecting society from. It's all about right and wrong, and how you're gonna leave this earth when you leave here. That's the ultimate. But it's about how we exist together. How everybody. That's what this country is about. It ain't just black and white no more. Not that it ever really was. Because first it was the natives and the settlers, the pilgrims. Excuse me. You know, it's we do have a history that needs to be looked at and understood so we can move forward. But you have those same people that are trying to prevent our infrastructure and education and healthcare. They're also uh, well, that's it. Education. They don't want it. They don't want the truth. I don't know why. Because the truth will set you free, and the truth will give you a basis for proper choices, making proper choices. Because I know there's stuff that uh, people, once they know the truth, the truth would probably change a lot of the way they think because of what's right and wrong. And that's why I'm into this. We need to start looking at what's right and what's wrong. Heck with all uh you know news. Don't even pay attention to the news while you're thinking about this. You know, unless you're looking at what's on the news, and yeah, that's okay. Look at what's on the news and tell me what's right and what's wrong, or tell yourself what's right and what's wrong, or ask yourself what's right and what's wrong, and work through it. There's a lot of people out there doing hateful things that go to church, and you go to church to take a nap. Some people, they go to church, once a week to shower. They feel like they cleansing their soul just going to church, but then they go back out and do dirt. It don't work like that. Don't work like that. We really need to be mindful of what's right and wrong, and that'll help us uh, 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 as we come together to protest or whatever. We understand why we're protesting. We understand why those people are protesting because what's happening to them is not right. But then you have protests against the protesters. That ain't right. You're trying to deny them their right to look. You're stepping on me. You know what I'm saying? Come on. You gotta take your uh, this weight off me. And that's what's going on. That's this struggle. That's what this struggle is about. The weight of society on our shoulders. The weight of this society is on our shoulders, and is being enforced by the IRS. Let one of us not pay our taxes. I'm talking about us down here on the ground. I'm not talking about those people that fly so high they can't see us. I'm talking about us down here on the ground. Let one of us not pay our taxes. and see how the Gestapo shows up on you. But they not only don't pay tax, then they taken our tax money for decades, because what it was supposed to be designated to use for, it's not being used for, because we're still complaining or arguing or fighting about infrastructure, education, healthcare, you know, those things we need. We're being denied. And they're taking the money that they take out of our check for those things and giving it to somebody else. That's what we need to understand is wrong. So we should be standing up against that. But just because they tell, when you try to change it, they start hollering socialism or something like that, and we can't live like that or whatever. I don't. I read a little bit about socialism. I read a little bit about uh, 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 um, what's that other? The I don't have the books in front of me, and but I've read a little bit about uh, other isms, and what we need to be aware of is the system that we're under is more capitalistic, and capitalistic is that game Monopoly. That's what it's based in, Monopoly. And at the end of the game, somebody owns everything. And once they own everything, they'll enslave everybody. It only stands to reason. That's everybody. Even you who think you're privileged. If you're not a billionaire, if you can't afford to keep yourself out of the labor area, that's what you'll be doing, just like everybody else. Don't take that false sense of privilege, that false sense of superiority, and let it get you uh, in a place you don't want to be. And it ain't nobody doing it but yourself. You know, we need to be doing this together because that's where we are. We're here together, and we need to be working together. Now, in this, I came across something that's right, actually good, and it's a simple change. A simple change. I mean, it's simple and it's right. It's. Look, we're under this, like I'm saying, this tax system, the way they have it set up, and it's our labor, our work that is carrying the weight of this society. Now, I propose that we remove that tax on labor and everything that comes from labor. We remove that tax and apply that tax to the value of the land. I checked the value of the land, uh, I think as of 2008 or 2009, that, I couldn't find any information more recent, but I'll be into it. Uh, that value was $23 trillion for the land in the 48 states. $23 trillion. Now the 15% tax that I applied to it came to 3,450,000,000,000. Now that was a low ball tax, but I just put 15%. But if that 3,450,000,000,000, that is what this president was asking, like 3 trillion and change. That's what he was asking for to get these things done. Now, if that value, and it's a low ball, was going into, that's where, in the revenue from the value of the land, that tax on the value of the land, that revenue would go into a fund for the common good, which covers the running of government, healthcare, education, infrastructure, and the military. Now that lowball number, 3,450,000,000,000, every fiscal season, every year or whatever, going into that fund where, like I said, healthcare, education, infrastructure would always be covered, always be funded. We won't be every election season or voting season talking those points, because they would always be funded. And a lot of the corruption in the way our money moves, a lot of the access to corruption would be gone. And the collection of that tax would be a lot easier, because you can't put land in an offshore account. You can't hide the land. So you can't lie about how much land you have or whatever, because somebody just go out there and survey it. And then you'd be paying for that too. It just makes things a lot easier, a lot more productive, I believe. It would raise everybody's condition immediately, because now people would be bringing home what they make instead of after taxes. Be bringing home closer to the gross instead of the net. And as things go, you would be bringing home the gross, and at higher rates. So this is I think that's what I'm going to do is my next video. I think I'm just going to talk about the plan, the change, and how we should go about doing it. I'll try to get as much in depth as I can. Because that we need it. We need it now. Seriously, actually, we need it now. I think to lower the temperature of this country, to lower the stress levels in this country, we need to uh, uh, activate the relief valve. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this pressure has to be released, and the pressure is from stress, which is from struggle. I believe people are just tired of struggling. I think people are tired of working and not getting nowhere, and it's getting worse. I'm a senior, and we got a an increase, uh, you know, this year, and the amount of that increase was negated immediately. In my case, and well, not just my case, probably a lot of people who are on a basically fixed income as far as being a senior. uh MDU, the oops, excuse me, scratch that, but the utility company got a $50 rate hike. That's $50 a month that of that increase that is gone, you know, and everybody else follows suit. You know, everybody just raises everything. Everything is going. Food prices are going up. All this, so we're not gaining anything. And not for nothing, uh the rate that we get is not conducive to the cost of living anyway. And that's where how these raises should go. I mean, we worked to have it. So why should we continue to struggle? That's what's right and wrong. That's what this is all about. It's about right and wrong, and laws that 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 uh work out to right and wrong. The law is either just or it's unjust. And unjust laws shouldn't just be allowed to be ratified where you're just adjusting the injustice. It's still unjust. The only thing you can do with an unjust law is remove it because it's unjust. People deserve more than what we're getting, but that's because government went from being servants. Probably earlier on they probably acted like servants, and now they're leaders, and they're telling us what to do or not to do, or making all these restrictive laws, and everybody's suing everybody and all this here stuff because somebody says that women can't do this and women can't do. Who are you to tell women that they can't do this or they can't do that or whatever? You know, and who are you to set up a situation where people are living in cities on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other? There's no elbow room. It's unhealthy. Everybody's breathing each other's air, and then you deny medical resources to that area, or educational resources to that area, or whatever. This is uh, the problem. Social conditions are social problems are caused by social conditions, and it's laws and policies that set those conditions. That's why we need to go over all this stuff. We need to change first the economic issues, I believe, to take pressure off people as far as income and making sure they can support their family and pay their rent and all the things that and mortgage. People are losing homes and stuff like this here, and you got people leaving work. They're just tired of doing it for with no advancement or no feasible way forward. What I have, what I'm bringing forward here was attempted already. And the same people who prevented it then are probably going to try to prevent it now. Those monopolizers, those people who gain from everything we do. Our tax money should not enrich the rich. Our tax money should be paying for education, should be paying for infrastructure, should be organizing healthcare and all that stuff. But they're stealing it. That's how the system was set up, so they could steal it, or laws were changed so they could steal it. And why? You're billionaires. You have more money than you could ever any of us could ever think of spending in how many generations. But you want to steal ours. That ain't right. I'm just giving you something to wrap your head around. Right and wrong. Just look at it and look at everything in your life. Seriously, just everything. Just look at it and look at what's right and what's wrong. How we should be treating each other. It's supposed to be about love your neighbor as you love yourself. And neighbors on the round thing, we're all neighbors. We're all neighbors. Yeah, some people you gotta love at a distance. There's people I can't be around. I mean, and it ain't not got nothing to do with nobody's color or not. There's just people, you know, uh, 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 you get around them and they sap your energy. They just, they have this negativity about them that just, it just saps your energy. And you can't be around them people. I can't. It don't make no difference who they are, what color they are, whatever. It's just those people. There's some people that are just toxic. Period. When you do a detox, you got to detox everything. Even your friend circle of friends. Some of them might be toxic to you. You get around them, like I said, and they start sapping your energy. You know, but you still love everybody. I do. I pray for everybody. I pray for my enemies. If I have any, I don't really know anybody that I hate or I don't. Uh, I love people, man, and I consider what causes people to do some of the stuff that they do. So it's not about that person. It's about the environment they were in or whatever like that. Being mindful, that's all. I love you guys, all you travelers out there. I'm out here with you. I'm a voice in the wilderness. I'm trying to help you to get there. We can get there to this promised land. Love you guys. Till next time, I'll be talking about the plan.